Design or Die podcast, meant to connect creatives together and help you navigate the struggles and the triumphs of what it means to be an entrepreneur so that you and your business can thrive. I'm your host, Colette. Let's get creative. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see your face actually in person.
I know. It's been years.
So today we're talking with Sierra Cranford of Sierra Dawn Design. And I just wanted to tell a little bit how we know each other. So, what was first? So the photography studio, we worked there together. And then we also went to the same school for college, and we were in graphic design classes together, which is kind of funny because that's neither of our major, but we ended up both kind of doing that. So yeah, just tell me a little bit about, what you were studying in school, what you're pursuing, and what your goals were then, and then kind of tell me what you're doing now.
So around middle school time, when MySpace was taking over and Zynga and stuff like that, I got really into how we were all like basically coding our stuff when we were 11, which is pretty crazy. And I found Photoshop and I got my first digital camera, and that's when I just really fell in love with photography. And so I always, like, from that point, I knew that's what I wanted to study in college. And yeah, I studied photography. It was a fine arts degree. So I took classes in everything, basically every medium, but photography was my concentration. And that's how Colette and I met, working at the photography studio.
Yeah.
And
fun times.
Not at all. But that's another story.
Other,
Yeah. Trauma bonded.
Yes.
Yeah. So I studied photography in college, and then afterwards I was just really burnt out. I was kind of over photography as a whole. I did try to do a couple of weddings and stuff like that after I graduated, but I just didn't love them. It wasn't fun or enjoyable anymore.
It seemed like a lot of work. I've only done the few as an assistant photographer, but even that I was like completely drained at the end of the day. And then you have to like go and edit everything,
Yeah, it's socially exhausting and physically exhausting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally get that. So what were your goals then for, like, obviously you studied photography, so like you wanted to do that as a career, and then what did you end up doing? Tell me about your switch. You kind of switched up to doing graphic design. So
I never made any goals in college, and so when I graduated, I also didn't really have goals or a plan for anything to come. I'm not very good at planning. I'm really good at procrastinating, so I guess that's kind of what I did. And I graduated and I was just so over art in general. I was exhausted from it, and I just kind of traveled and climbed a lot. And then I was doing like one-off jobs. People would come to me for a logo design or, like a photo session here and there. And then I was making art and trying to go to art shows. I was just kind of going in every single direction.
Yeah. It's funny too, because I think I mentioned to you, like, you actually created my first logo before I knew what I was doing. It's so funny because you weren't even like on that path yet, but you were good at it,
Yeah, people were coming to me. I wasn't like actually seeking out this thing, but I guess just friends, when you're in the art world and you're the only one of your friends in your friend group who is, you get a lot of random jobs like that.
So true.
I know you talked about it in one of your episodes, but I was in a similar situation where I was just like doing way too much and not enough in any direction.
Same. Yeah, I'm just now trying to figure out where I'm going,
So it's like floundering a lot. I haven't thought that much about how I got here until
it just kind of happened.
This. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to think about it retrospectively, but
yeah. So were you like enjoying the designing work more
Yes, I always enjoyed graphic design. I didn't really know that's what it was, but I just like other
It's doing it.
components of design that I enjoy,
Mhm.
yeah. And so I started, how did I get here? I tried to think through all of this
How
stuff.
did I get here? Yeah, no, it kind of just like
Um,
developed into its own thing.
okay, so honestly, I think launching my business was kind of out of necessity
Yeah.
because every time I work for someone else or I get a new job, I just hate it immediately and it feels soul sucking and I'm not
Oh, I
doing
hate
a good
working for other
job.
people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I kind of like worked my last job
Yeah.
and I knew, okay, I can't do this again. So we were getting close to moving also. Like it was time and we were ready to move. And I knew that I had to do something. And
Hmm.
so I decided, I have no idea why, but I just decided to focus on branding. The first time I was like, I'm just going to focus on this one thing. I'm going to work
Yeah.
on it every day and I'm not going to stop until it sticks.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of research and a lot of work going into it. Then the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
So I was in a really privileged situation where I could just keep working through that and like not have to,
Worry too much.
yeah. And so it kind of gave me time to actually just put only into that.
Yeah. I mean, you did such a good job too with it. Like you just kind of took it and ran with it. And then, so now you're doing something completely different. I mean, kind of a mix of everything. Talk about how you switched into more like interior decorating and like how those jobs were starting to come out and how you brought your skills of photography design like into that.
So the first interior decorating job that I did was actually for my aunt and it was just kind of like a fun project. She had this patio and she had inherited my grandparents' house and it was very much full of their stuff and this was the easiest area for her to transition into her. And she just fully trusted me to do whatever I wanted to do. So I kind of went wild and had a lot of fun with that. But I was so focused on niching down into branding that I
Yeah.
almost didn't even
Better.
post about any of it on social media or my website or anything. I was just like, this is irrelevant. It's not related to my business.
Yeah, because it's
Um,
almost going back to like what you were doing, like accepting
yeah,
random jobs. Yeah.
yes, that's how I felt. And I don't know, I was like, well, it was so much fun and it was so much work. So, and I did a huge mural on her ceiling. And so the mural is like kind of related. I didn't know, I went back and forth. But, anyways, I ended up posting about it and put it on my website, documented the whole thing on social media. And it's actually how I got like my biggest client in my business at the time.
Wow.
They
And you
saw
almost said
the,
no to it.
I know. So
That's
they saw the mural on the ceiling and they saw like the whole porch thing. And then they hired me to do a room in their store.
Mhm.
So that was when it kind of like branding also came in, the two worlds.
Collided.
Um, yeah, because it was a store, they already had a brand. And then it was like, how do I work the branding into the design of this room?
That's really cool.
So,
Yeah, so it's kind of mixing all of it together. That's so
mhm.
cool. And I noticed all the jobs like you have been doing also kind of reflect your personal style and interest too, which I love because you have like your own brand, even though you're doing like
Yeah.
a lot of different things, you can still tell it's made by you because it's like, you bring like nature elements into it and painting with your, design skills, which is really awesome. So
Thank you.
what are you liking the most about doing that? Do you love the
Um,
murals or just like piecing it all together?
yeah, I think that I'm honestly kind of stepping into this. It's in a transitionary state and it is so many things. It's kind of becoming more of like a creative consulting type of position or not position, but like my business positioning, I guess, where I'm realizing that I can just kind of see the big picture of things and like this is how they're going to work together. and putting that into digital stuff, into physical store locations or products, whatever it may be, like just bridging the gap between all of those things has been really interesting.
I love how that just kind of like developed on its own. We had talked about too before that you did almost like turn this job down, but you kind of like ran with it and like all these opportunities opened up for you, which is so awesome. And now I feel like you have your own thing that like no one else is really doing. You're the overall like creative director almost for,
Mm-hmm.
these businesses, which is really cool.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm assuming that most people that listen to this are designers. So anyone out there, I feel like it was great to niche at first and to be like, I'm just going to work on branding. But it got to a point where I was really limiting myself and not taking opportunities that may have helped or not helped. But I think after a certain point of like focus and you get to a point with your business, it's okay to take on other things that excite you. Yeah. And just see where they lead
Yeah.
because
I mean, that's us as creatives, like we always kind of want to change it up a little bit.
yeah.
So that's a really good advice for people. So now I learned that you're doing a corporate gig where you're doing something kind of completely different, but in the design realm. So tell me like what you're learning through that and how it's making you a better designer and how different it is.
Yeah. It's very different than any of the normal brands that I work for because, like you said, most of my stuff is nature inspired and organic. And this is the exact opposite. It's a major retailer. It's a very established business. So it's been around for a very long time and they have one color and one font, and that's what you use nothing else.
Oh man.
I'm not saying it's not creative because it is. It's a huge design challenge to have to keep making new things out of one color and one font.
Yeah.
It's very different and it's very structured compared to I've been more working with brands that are not well established, so I am creating a lot of the brand elements where here it's like here's the guide. But I am working specifically on a lot of their like environmental communications. So in that way, it's sort of similar, I
Yeah,
guess.
it still aligns with you in some way.
Yeah, which has been interesting to see how they're handling all of that stuff. And I was really surprised to hear them talking about it in a way that was almost like they were excited to tackle it. I assumed that it would be the opposite, that they would be annoyed that there's government regulations for climate change and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool. Before I wrap it up, I do want to talk about just what you do for fun. Like, tell the listeners what you do for fun and how your art has kind of inspired by that. Because I
Okay.
even see behind you like really awesome paintings and they're all like, mountains and stuff like that. So, yeah, just talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I kind of left this out at first, but when my main goal this entire time hasn't really been business, it's more so been climbing and rock climbing
Mhm.
and hiking and being outside and having the time and the flexibility and the funds to do that. So my business has always been sort of like my second passion and my way to make the first one happen. My work is very inspired by that. It's hard for me to leave it out. I don't even think that I can. So honestly, I turn down people who, like if it's not my style, I can't do it as
Yeah,
well. So I'm like, I don't think we're a good fit. I'm sorry because
yeah,
my stuff is too natural or too organic. And when I say organic, I mean like shapes and colors and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, because if you do take a job that kind of doesn't align with your style, like it won't be your best work because it doesn't have like you in it.
Hmm.
And I think that's a lot of the times like people forget that, especially in the beginning, you say yes to like every single project. There's been like, even when I was just doing painting, there was projects where people wanted commission paintings, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And it like did not come out good because that's just like not what I do. You know, people wanted like pet portraits and stuff, and I was more like nature inspired.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely saying yes to like things that align with you and your style is so important.
Yeah, and it's really hard at first. I think we're both finally at a place where financially we can say no to those things, but
Yeah.
at first it feels like you have to take
Yeah.
on everything. That part of growing really sucks.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be on the other end of that and be
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to do the best work for you. This isn't going to, when you take on projects that aren't even a good fit, it's like you don't even want to post it on your website or
Yeah.
put it in
'Cause
your portfolio. And then
gosh, yeah.
why did you do that? It's not benefiting you at all, other than like a quick buck. But yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I think it's like it's a learning process. So like people will
For
probably
sure.
do that in the beginning, especially when you're just getting established. You want your name out there. And then yeah, it turns into just accepting jobs that are like in line with you, which is something I've had to learn recently too, even though I've been doing this for a while, but I've switched up what I'm doing a couple times. So where do you see your future? Obviously, you said your main goal is personal goals, which is awesome. Where do you see your business going? Do you think you're gonna like keep up with this kind of creative designing idea?
Yes. My plan is to scale my business, but I'm trying to do it at a controllable rate because I don't want to scale too fast. That is possible right now, but I want to stay ahead of it and like, get stable with every transition that is happening before I make another quick one and just like get really out of control. I have started working with the subcontractors, so I've been subbing out some of my design work, which has been really nice. And I want to continue to grow, but the main goal is still flexibility and
Yeah.
having time off to do what I want to do.
Cool. Well, where can people find you? Tell us your Instagram handle. I'll also link it in the show notes. And are you mostly just like on Instagram, website? How do people reach you?
Yes, Instagram is definitely probably what I use the most. It's sierradawn_design. And then my website is also sierradawndesign.com.
Awesome.
Let me make sure that's right. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, it was so good talking to you, and thank you for sharing your background and what you do. And I hope your business is super successful and that you can do all the things you love in the meantime.
Thank you.
All right,
You too.
we'll
It
talk
was great
soon.
talking to you.
All right, bye.
Bye.